say this: the guy went on and had a spectacular pro career, and he kind of got lost in the shuffle. You know, Dorian Yates is called the shadow. I call Chris the overshadow. He was overshadowed by all these other people.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And people just really, I don't think they realized how great he was.
Lonnie, I was happy to have you on because you know my whole career. You've seen my whole career. I had one of the best seats in the house to watch the whole thing. You know, that meant a lot to me because you were the very first writer to write about me in the magazine. You were the very first. But Lonnie, if you remember, you always reminded me that there were doubters. There was a lot of people doubting me the whole time, doubting my abilities, doubting my size, doubting what I could do.
One of the worst times in my life as an MC, and MC'd over 300 shows, 25 Arnolds, was announcing, seeing the results and seeing you in second place and knowing I was going to have to make that announcement and break your heart again. I keep on hearing all this negative stuff about this Nick Walker, and I'm thinking, how negative can the guy be? He's won the New York Pro 3 times. He won the Arnold. Yeah. He was third in the Olympia. Somebody must like him. He's getting a lot of first place votes. How bad can he be? Yeah, the one thing that bothers me the most, I mean, okay, he doesn't have the smallest waist. He doesn't have a Cormier waist, a Flex Wheeler waist, but it's those darn varicose veins.
It's fun. It's fun. I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan watching you too. That's why I'm just letting you guys talk, because like Lonnie's become the host of the show today and just asking all the questions. I'm just letting it go, man. This is a legend here.
Every rep starts with fuel. Helix cream of rice, clean carbs, zero sugar, fast digesting energy that hits quick, fuels hard, and never sits heavy. 27 grams of pure carb power, nothing but rice and real flavor. Proudly made in Canada, built for champions. Grab yours now with code MuscleDiscord. Helix Foods, fuel the work, own the stage.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Muscle Discord, and we are on episode number 3 of the Real Deal podcast with the Real Deal Chris Cormier himself, and we got a special guest, Lonnie Teper. Man, welcome to Chris's show. This is the Real Deal podcast. So
the Real Deal's got his own show. I can't believe it. I knew he was a kid.
Where did he get the name? Where did he get this name, Real Deal?
The Real Deal. Well, I don't know where I was. I think I was in Long Beach or something, and 1967, I believe it was, and some kid came up to me and introduced himself and was trying to get publicity, and I said
1967.
I was 17 years old, actually.
Yeah, he's 17 years old, and he looked like Evander Holyfield. I said, this kid's the real deal, you know, and that's when I first met him. But then when I first saw him in action was actually at the Teenage California at the Wiltern Theater. Right. Remember that night Sean Ray won the Cal,
right,
over a disputed decision over Rick Stevenson, I may add, and Chris won the Teenage, and then I was there again when he won the Cal at UC Irvine, if you remember that.
Oh yeah,
1990.
Yes.
And then we had a string going. I was the MC when you won the USA. You got your pro card, and I was the MC when you won your 4 Ironmans, and you did your first Ironman and you got second.
Correct.
That wasn't too shabby for your first pro
Taylor.
Show. Vince Taylor won the show. Yeah. You've had quite a career, and
also, I think Berto Fox was next to me on my right, and he was crowding me out. I couldn't even get through to the lineup, and he was like, I just let him have it because I'm a rookie. I'm just happy to be there.
That was a 94 show.
Yeah, 94. That was his last competition, Berto Fox. So when they had called me for the first call out, I was like, excuse me. And I was like, they're calling me. I got to go.
Well, you're kind of reserved anyway. You've always been one of the more reserved bodybuilders, particularly of the elite. A lot of these other people always have a lot of things to say. You know?
Yeah. I was kind of quiet.
The talking. And I want to go on record as saying right now, I think that, you know, and if you notice the video, I'd call you Chris Cormier because that's what you told me to call you.
That's right.
And then the next contest, when I called you Chris Cormier, you said, "Why aren't you calling me Chris Cormier? That's my name, Chris Cormier."
Cormier.
I didn't know which one it was.
It's Cormier.
But I will say this: that the guy went on and had a spectacular pro career, and he kind of got lost in the shuffle. You know, Dorian Yates is called the Shadow. I call Chris the Overshadow. He was overshadowed by all these other people.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And people just really, I don't think they realized how great he was because he was standing against so many great bodybuilders.
Yep.
But he was going toe to toe with all of them. He was right in the same league. I don't care if he got first or if he's got sixth or fourth, or he was right there with all of them. And basically was I think as good as any of them. You know, I mean, you could argue here or there. He didn't have 6 Olympia titles, okay, but he had 6 second-place finishes at the Arnold, which I was at the mic, and I think 3 of those should have been victories.
At least 3. At least 3. I thought the same. I thought at least 3 should have been my titles. I can go on and on with the numbers in which the years, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, you know, because, you know, in hindsight, it was some of the greatest times I thought to compete, but now the money's all here now these days. The money's here with the young bulls coming up, and they're able to reap the benefits and fruits of our labor. And yeah, Lonnie, I was happy to have you on because you know my whole career. You've seen my whole career. I had one of the best seats in the house to watch the whole thing. You know, that meant a lot to me because you were the very first writer to write about me in the magazine. You were the very first. And I hold that dear to my heart because I was really excited to be in the watch out for. You was like, watch out for this guy.
Yeah, what was your first impression? What was your first impressions of Chris when you first saw him for that, Lonnie?
My first impression of Chris? Well, again, he looked like Evander Holyfield, but when I saw him actually on stage at the Teenage Cal, I said, this guy's really good. And I thought, and I had some debates from 1 or 2 top-ranked pros at the time who didn't think he was going to be very good. And they said, nothing jumps out at you. I said, that's exactly why he's really good. He's really balanced. Everything goes together. That's what you call almost a perfect physique. And he went on, you know, 4 Ironman victories. And I think people forget that he was 3rd, I believe, at the 1999 Mr. Olympia. Was that it, Chris? You got 3rd that year?
Yeah, and it was a tough lineup.
And you
but I was telling everybody that I was going to be in the top 3 that year because I was tired of being in the top 6. But Lonnie, if you remember, you always reminded me that there were doubters. There was a lot of people doubting me the whole time, doubting my abilities, doubting my size, doubting what I could do moving forward. But every time I proved them wrong, you know, from a teenager to the men's division. Oh, but he won't be good on the national level. Oh, but he won't be a good pro. But then everybody shut up when I took a top 6 finish my rookie year.
You remember what you said to me before that 99 show backstage? You went up, you flexed your hamstring, said, feel that hamstring. I think I got Sean tonight. That's what you said, and you got him.
I got it.
You know, long time coming, but you got him.
That's all right. You know, I had to fill out my attributes and take full advantage of my physique, the width of the physique. I think that all comes into play when you in time, and if you get the right type of tension on a muscle, I think then, you know, a lot of these guys that have the flatter backs or chest, it just takes time to fill that out. And then once you have a physique like Sean's, you can go, you know, quickly to the top, but you don't have a whole lot of space to work with.
Right. I always said how great it would be. What I'd love to do is take Chris and put him in an island for 6 months where he could do nothing, eat, sleep, and train, and there'd be no Roxbury nightclubs. There'd be no women all over the place. And see what he could do with 6 full months of nothing but 100% Dorian Yates concentration.
But to be fair, Lonnie, you knew I worked there as an amateur, and I was up 5 nights a week in the club. So being at Roxbury is where I became the real deal. Anyway,
When
that's
you when
how
you
it.
when you started beating up Mike Tyson?
Yeah, yeah. I had a little deal with Mike Tyson. Remember, I show up with my hands all swollen. I can't train because I had a big fight at the club. That
Well,
was
I
him.
think,
We took a photo. Remember?
yeah, and I remember I got you upset. Remember we were in Kansas City, you were guest posing, and I was doing Elvis and emceeing, and you
Yeah,
came
yeah.
down the aisle, and I was yelling, he's got plenty of muscle, but no rhythm. And you said, I got plenty of rhythm, and you start showing me. Every time you do a routine, you'd say, do you see that rhythm I got?
One thing that jumps out at me, and I have the DVD here in my house. You were in my room the night I won my uh, first competition as a professional at the Night of Champions. You were in my room the night before, and I remember there was a few people there, but you were one of them. You're talking about Delette, and a couple other friends were there. But do you remember being in my room the night before the show?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and I had that on video. Remember, I had the camera.
No, I
And
never saw that. I'd
I
love
know
to
you never
see it.
saw it, but I have it. I have it here. I gotta try to show you that because I think you'll enjoy it. But you were saying like, I don't know if you'll be able to pull it off, real deal, or like that. You called me Evander that night. I said, I don't know if you'll be able to pull it off. You got this and that to deal with. And I said, oh, I'm gonna win it. I said, I'm gonna do it. And I came to true light, and I got that victory that night. But you got to see this footage. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Could
and
there? Go ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead. Sorry.
fortunate enough to be the MC of most of your major wins.
Yeah.
The USA victory, all 4 Ironman pros. I was the MC
Yeah.
the Night of Champions that you
Oh,
won.
yeah.
And
What about the San Francisco? I think the San Francisco.
San Francisco, I was the MC, which you won. You
Yeah.
dominated that.
Yeah, and that was a week after the Honor Classic.
You know, another show that you really look great. Remember the big battle between Kamali and Titus? That was all the gibberish, all the noise going on.
Oh yeah.
And you didn't really say anything except go out there and kick everybody's butt when it came to game time.
But they were talking. It was funny though. That was a great time. Great time, him and Titus.
Yeah, well, it brought excitement. I kind of miss. I mean, I don't miss some of the things he did, but I miss the banter.
Oh yeah.
I kind of like some of that to make it interesting. It's.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think we're starting to get a little of that today again. I keep on hearing all this negative stuff about this Nick Walker, and I'm thinking, how negative can the guy be? He's won the New York Pro 3 times. He won the Arnold.
Yeah.
He was 3rd in the Olympia. Somebody must like him. He's getting a lot of first place votes. How bad can he be?
Yeah, I feel the same. As far as you can't deny the ability now. You can look at anything as far as the imperfections that you think, but yet when the guy comes onto the stage, he's bringing it, and he's being rewarded.
Well, I'm not saying, I said before on this show that I didn't think he could win the Olympia. And I'm not saying he could win the Olympia, but I am saying I think he could cause a lot of headaches in that Olympia lineup. Now, he's done a lot of shows, Chris. Is he going to be able to peak again?
Yes, I think it's the right time for him now. As far as there's 20 weeks from now to you got a little rest period, and then you could turn it back on, depending on you could say that, about, Derek is going to have to do the same thing. You have to shut it down for a bit, and you're going to have to turn it back on. The same as with Samson. The only one that set out was Hottie, and Hottie being, true to form, he's got his whole system that he's been following the same time, never broke down his body, never had to do, I don't know what type of appearances he's doing in Iran, but it seems like he stays put pretty much, and that's gonna help him. He'll be probably the one to watch as the wild card, but actually, you got 3 and 4 Olympians if you're including all the Olympians in the show. but let's say some of these guys that won Olympia, I think he's going to beat a Mr. Olympia champion. And who says he didn't beat the one
You talking
at
about Walker?
the Pittsburgh? Yeah, talking about Walker.
Yeah. Well, that Pittsburgh show was very interesting. I call it overtime, using sports lingo. It was tied at the regulation, and they went into overtime, and it was real interesting. The block type physique, compared to the more aesthetic, smaller person, which everybody seems to be liking more.
But if you look at that front dump, that front relax was solid. And I think that front relaxed, I think you can see the difference in what muscularity he brought and tenacity he brought with the physique. But just to stand there and have that powerful look right there, I think the judges like that.
Yeah, the one thing that bothers me the most, I mean, okay, he doesn't have the smallest waist. He doesn't have a Cormier waist, a Flex Wheeler waist, but it's those darn varicose veins. That's what bothers me the most. Can't those be fixed?
But the thing is, Lonnie, the thing is though, when they start posing, that's not standing out of your head. You're looking at the action, and you're looking at the muscle and the fierce, I don't know, stage presence that the kid possesses. And that's hard to teach that. You got to feel that from the inside out, and people are buying it. Like I said, you could look and point out different stuff if you take a photo and say, okay, I'm going to look at this, look at that. But once the body starts moving, you don't see anything that's going to be negative.
Well, I always the one that kind of perused the whole body. And I remember I was doing commentating when Dennis Wolf looked really great. And some people thought he should have won. And I kept on saying, but he's got no calves. His calves are really bad. And they go, why are you picking on his calves? I said, well, that's a body part. That throws off symmetry. And in Walker's case, the guy's phenomenal for what he's achieved. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know how he puts that much muscle on. What is he, 5'7", 250, 260 pounds? But it's just the veins, it's not even like a lagging body part. There's something there. I don't know the best way maybe to describe it without being too harsh, but it ain't pretty.
But like I said, and like you said, I mean, he's done tremendous with the physique he has and what genetics he's bring to the table. And just like Dorian Yates was very dense, wasn't pretty, but he was hella dense, and he worked the hell out of his physique. And he worked on all the different intangibles it takes to be a great bodybuilder. And I think that's what stuck out the most and gave him those Sandow trophies.
Now, you train people.
Yeah.
Would you take him on as a client?
Yeah, of course. It would be
Does he need the real deal to become the real deal?
It will be a great
That's good.
I think it'll be a great match because I think, knowing him as I do personally, I think he won't back down from the posing, he won't back down from the training, he won't back down from anything, as far as I could tell. I think we can improve some of the posing and work hard on those things. And someone who wants to work hard on every little aspect of being the best bodybuilder they can be, he's tenacious with the food. I saw him firsthand when we did Olympia battle training out there in Arizona. He finished his food, and that's all the food he wanted. And that's all the food he was going to eat. And, I saw it. Firsthand. He's very methodical about every little aspect of competition.
Would you maybe say that he's this decade's bigger version of Rich Gaspari? Remember how dedicated Rich was, and he never ate anything bad, and he trained 8 days a week, and he never let anything slide. And at that time he had gobs of muscle. Now since then, he's now become a small guy, but
and he's gotten really into his training also. So I'd say he was tenacious, like just as the Gaspari.
Now, would you compare this guy to Big Ramy?
Just a different look, he actually placed a head around me. I think those days, him and Rami, I don't know what that's going to look like from the side. I know Rami had more of that glute fan going on with the striations. A little bit different look, but he's a lot more dense than Rami. What
Yeah,
do you think?
I don't think we've seen anybody with more muscle inch for inch than this guy. And he seems to be, I don't know, to me, I haven't seen him in person, but to me, he seems to be getting better
Yeah, it's been better
with each show, which is, and he's taking the criticism. I mean, he's not happy, I guess, with all that criticism, but he's using it as fuel for fire, and he's using that to come back better each time he's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he kind of like the
750? Oh no, 600,000.
600. Yeah.
600,000 for the Olympia. Okay. Boy, these guys have a chance to make a lot. Chris, I know that pisses you off. You competed and you won a show and got $10,000.
Yeah, but we were like I say, we were paving the way for these guys. That's what we wanted to do, and I think that's been done.
Chris, you remember the USA that you won, where I was the MC? Do you remember the top 5?
I think myself. They had what's the kid out of Ohio who was
Michael Francois.
Michael Francois.
What a battle with you and Francois.
Yeah, and third was the black kid, but I think
Edgar Fletcher. Remember, he had to go to the hospital.
Wow. Yeah, from Europe. Edgar Fletcher, and then there was what's the guy? What's the guy's name?
No, you remember the guy.
Craig left. Craig left the stage.
I gave the guy the nickname.
Fourth or fifth, Craig.
Fourth place, gave him the nickname Quadzilla.
And also
Titus.
Titus, and also Dennis Newman was 6th.
Dennis Newman was 6th.
And then 7th was the one black kid from the East Coast. I forgot his name, but the whole top 7 turned pro consecutively after
I tell you,
that show.
I remember those shows back then. That was such phenomenal. The 91 Nationals, I still remember like it was yesterday in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
With Kevin Levrone, Flex Wheeler, Paul DeMeo, Ronnie Coleman, and Matt Mendenhall.
I was in it. I took 7th.
I was 7th.
I was 7th, but I was trying to go for the universe team. So Ronnie took 4th. I took 7th. So me and Ronnie I was the alternate for the universe team. But I knew Ronnie was going to pass the test, so I didn't even bother going to check that out. But
yeah, they say Ronnie said that's his last days of being a natty. 91 national.
We were just trying to get that card, and then I ended up taking off the next year, 92, to help Flex win his titles, and he won the USA overall. Then I won mine the very next year.
You became really close friends with Flex Wheeler and Rico. We all know about that. How is Flex doing these days? I have not had a chance to talk with him since his accident.
He's okay. I think he has a lot of ups and downs as far as that concerned. You know what type of man he was, and he walked with a lot of pride. And he was a great bodybuilder. Probably one of the greatest bodybuilders to ever live. So you got to give him his due. And that whirlwind of the team Flex Wheeler from that 91, 92, like he was just a big tidal wave of upside. And so I don't know, it's hard to even he was just a star. He was like a little Michael Jackson, and we was like part of the Jackson 5, but he was definitely
doing the steps.
He was definitely Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Looking back at your career, you have to be satisfied. You had tremendous achievements. Maybe not winning the Mr. Olympia, which everybody wants to win the Mr. Olympia. You didn't win the Arnold Classic. You certainly could have more than once. And you've had several pro wins, great amateur wins. Did you ever think you'd be that good when you were coming up? When I saw the little kid in Long Beach, Holyfield.
I believed I could be better than what other people gave me credit for. And it did fuel me. It did make me push harder because I wanted to prove everybody wrong. But you know, it wasn't like a lot of people was beating that drum for me. They were kind of like, I don't think he can do it. I don't think he's big enough, that type of thing. But
Yeah,
I just
nothing
built
jumps out at
myself.
you. Nothing jumps
Yeah,
out at you, which I thought was the best thing about you. That
yeah,
everything flowed together like a statue.
yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
did you
Matthew?
did you ever sit back and wish that you competed in another era because there were so many
No,
great
I
guys?
mean, but you know what though? With that being said, Lonnie, to get the magazine and be able to turn the page and just be like in awe of what you saw, and going to the magazine stand, coming back, you know, I got, you know, where I'm going, I'm gonna do the Ironman in here in town. I get up out of bed, I go over to the auditorium, go backstage. That era in which I lived, you know, it wasn't about the money. It was never really about the money when we were coming up.
The love of the game.
Wanted to compete, I was just in love with what the process was. I loved the hard work. I loved you know, the triumphs, you know, the downs. You can also get back to the next week in another country or another show, whatever it is. Have people waiting for you when you get there is a whole nother element that's not being
Mhm.
that's not a part of the game now, because you got social media and have a phone. You know, it's totally different mindset now in
How about the
gaming.
upset over Flex Wheeler at the Ironman?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. See, that's
That's got
another
to
one.
stand out as one of your all-time great achievements.
Oh yeah. It wasn't my first win, my first time beating him, but it was most meaningful because we both had started at the same time. We both have one goal. We both in the same gym. So half of the gym was on his side, half of the gym was on my side. And then when we got to the auditorium, half of the people was on my side, which is on the left side. The other half of the auditorium was for him and on the right side. And the people in the audience was going at it verbally. And uh, when I was named the Ironman champion, I jumped off the stage and all of my people was here, and it was all full of hugs and screams. And that was one of my best and favorite wins, even more so than turning pro, was to,
Hmm.
you know, out bully the bully of California.
And
So
it was
that
a
was
great
remarkable.
battle 2 weeks later in Columbus, Ohio, when I was at the mic again. The return of Wheeler versus Cormier.
Yes, and I
That was
was
that was a tough one.
to this day, I still think I won it. But
Well,
but
I thought let's put it this way. I don't know if you won it, but I think it was a lot closer than a lot of people were saying around. A lot of people were telling me, remember in that bar area in the hotel that we stayed in
Yeah.
at that time?
yeah,
What do you think? I said, man, I think it's really close. This one photographer, I won't use his name. And he said, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything about bodybuilding. Wheeler wins this thing by a mile, blah, 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 blah.
bullshit.
I said, you asked me my opinion. I gave you my opinion. Now you're calling me an idiot. I said, I think it could go either way. Tell me why it can't go either way.
I just left him
It
in the
was
dust
close.
just days before.
And it was close.
So yeah. I mean, he got in better shape, but I still think the density of the hamstrings and the lower back, the width of the back. If we did a lat spread next to each other, there was no comparison. So if that happened in a lot of different competitions, they'll say, you know, that is the bigger guy. Front lat spread, rear lat spread. Uh, these things were for me 100%.
One of the worst times in my life as an MC, and MC'd over 300 shows, 25 Arnolds, was seeing the results and seeing you in second place and knowing I was going to have to make that announcement and break your heart again when you
Yeah.
looked so great. And I really thought that, you know, nothing against Jay. He's a great champion.
That was 2004.
Won 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah, 3 of them. But you know, the only thing that saved me, it probably would have been some bloopers or some, you know, some bad reactions on stage, and still playing to this day is I was looking into the audience. I'm looking at the judges, and I'm like, okay, like this year is the year. This is the one because Jay was awfully flat and smaller. I was full, and I was full of striations, and I was looking great. And then to see, I'm looking at Jim Mannion, and he just went like this. He went.
Put his
He
head
just,
down.
he just dropped his head, and when he dropped his head, I was like, oh shit. I was like, this is not gonna go my way. And then and then when they announced Jay, I just like, I was like, okay, this is something here. Because if you see in the photos here, I was like, that was no comparison as far as like a winner or a loser. Not that he's he was a returning champion. I get all that, but I just thought my physique and his was just night and day as far as
Look at that.
what
Yeah.
it should be. Like, so I was just like, I was pissed. I was hurt. I felt the pieces backstage when I hit those curtains right there. I felt the pieces because I was like, they just don't want me to win this thing, obviously, no matter what I do. And then, I came back the next year and I took another second and I was like, okay, this is not going to be something I'm going to keep doing. I'm keep banging my head up against the wall. And something is not wanting me to win this thing. If you see us from the back, I think it was a whole nother look. And so, yeah, we have different physiques, but I just thought he came down too far, and I don't
He
think he
did.
ever wanted to go down that far again,
Yeah.
And the rest was history, brother.
Did you that weekend, like you say, it must have been pretty tough. How long did it take you to bounce back
It
and
was
get
not.
back
I
to the gym? Or
didn't.
like,
It take a couple of days, man, because I was like I said, I face planted behind the curtains, man. I was just
Oh,
like,
okay.
I was on the ground, man. I was
Yeah.
done. I was like,
look at that shot. Look at that
Look at
shot.
that.
I was
Yeah.
just like, no, man, this is not right, brother.
Who do you think won that pose right there?
Ask the judges because obviously I don't know.
Well, look how downsized Jay's legs are. That's how far down he came. His legs, like,
Yeah, but
those aren't Jay. Yeah.
yeah.
That
So
one leg. Yeah.
Well, it was a battle of two great champions, and only one could win. But sometimes they don't necessarily always get it right. And
Right.
like I said,
Yeah.
out of those 6 second place finishes, I think you definitely deserved a couple of those titles.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'm not a judge, but in my opinion, if I
Right.
had a vote,
Right.
and I love Jay. I think Jay's fabulous. But
Yeah.
remember when you went to the West Coast Classic, my show in Riverside, and you went on
Yeah.
stage, and he
Yeah.
had an Olympia watch,
Yeah.
and you said, or was it the Olympia watch or the Arnold watch?
No, the Arnold watch.
Arnold watch.
Classic
You said, you got my watch.
I still give him shit to this day, Lonnie. Still to this day, I'm like,
Oh, you guys get along.
I say I'll still, yeah. But I tell him, but this year he admitted that I probably should have won that show when we were at the FIBO, and I was like, man, I appreciate that, Jay, because he knew I was videotaping, and at least he gave me that. Yeah, he said he think that maybe the judges got it wrong, type of thing, but I appreciate that, man. I have nothing but love and respect for Jay and what he's accomplished, the ambassador he's become, and I don't see how he does it. He's at a high level still with all the fans and everything. So,
Boy, he's a
still
businessman.
doing his thing. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
New business popping up every week.
He's attending business too.
Makes a lot of money.
Yep.
So
That's
how are
awesome.
things going for you these days? You're training people living in San Diego?
Yeah, I'm at San Diego. I'm working. I'm on the podcast these days. I'm also trying to put a different little spin on it, trying to do some of the teaching, some of my strengths. In the gym, I grew up in the gym basically, and that's where I've been my whole life since I was 11, 12. So,
From
yeah.
Palm Springs, California.
Palm Springs, yeah. So, being with Dark Sport now for the last year or so, and I'm enjoying that a lot. I love the movement. I love it's not just clothing. It's a total movement of, they pick people up, make people feel like they're part of something that's great. And, still Real Leader Equipment. So I'm an ambassador for that company, equipment company, which is a great company out of China. But also here in the USA now. Working with Olympia TV. Now I'm working also with Muscle Discord here with Matthew. With the Real Deal, gave me the Real Deal channel, so podcast. So that's something I always wanted to do, is to really branch off and do some of the things that I want to do. Talk to some people I want to talk, and just showcase and show and teach, and just put some of my knowledge to work that I've been involved in it for 40 plus years. And I'm still loving it. I'm still passionate about it. I still love to go out and help the younger generation become great, or as best we can get it. And I still enjoy that whole journey. The whole
Now, the
journey.
most important question of this interview is, who are you sticking in Lonnie Teper's NPC West Coast Classic, June 28th in Riverside?
Is it in Riverside?
It's in Riverside again.
Okay.
You coming?
Okay. I'll be there, man. I'll be there for you. Don't worry.
I don't know.
So
You're hard
I'll
to
be there. If I'm not in Dubai, I'll be there.
Well, that's a good.
If I'm not in Dubai, I'll be in Riverside.
Dubai. Yeah.
Awesome.
I hear you got somebody in the. You have somebody doing the Cal?
No, not doing the Cal. I was going to work with someone just for posing and whatever, but I'm gonna be there though. I'm trying to see if I can meet up with Bruce from Legendary.
I may go myself.
Yeah. So just gonna do some talking, see if we can do something. But yeah, I'll be there for sure, man.
Well,
once you try to be there, man, it'd be great to see you.
Yeah, I hope you're hearing that you're latching on to some of these companies is great news, because there's so many other bodybuilders out there that are starting to do that now, and you definitely deserve to be right up there with them. Because in that golden era, as we refer to it, the golden era, you were definitely a shining spot in that golden era. And again, I don't know if you were appreciated as much as you should have been. I think part of it.
The funny thing is, I don't know if the judges thought I was as good as I was, but this next generation seemed to understand and see for themselves that I was a lot better and a lot should have been taken more seriously when it came to a win, a big win, like a Arnold Classic win or something like that. I think this next generation is opening our eyes more with the classic division that's involved now. Is really highly rated, highly regarded style of bodybuilding. So I was sort of like a hybrid classic guy, but also can hang with a heavy guy, open guy. So that's the type of physique I try to obtain, and I think a lot of people see it in this generation.
Yeah, well, you provided a lot of great moments for the fans throughout the years. I know in the 20 years we did the Ironman, you entered it several times and were always one of the favorites, and always performed well, was always in shape. I don't think I ever saw you out of shape. At least not out of shape to me.
I did 70 some pro shows.
70. Wow.
55 pose downs, 36 top 3 finishes, 22 second places. I don't know the wins, 11 or 12 wins. I can't really.
That ain't too shabby.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad from a kid from Palm Springs who go off to school on a wrestling mat and go up to Cal State Bakersfield, wrestling scholarship, and go, I'm getting the hell out of here, man. There ain't nothing out of Bakersfield.
Well, I tore up my knee, man, and then that wasn't going over too well. I had a full ride scholarship, but I loved football still, but I was still bodybuilding on the back end of all of this. And someday I'd have a wrestling tournament. The next week I have a bodybuilding show, and but I love it all. I still love all the stuff. The wrestling really helped me become a great.
Well, that built your base, don't you think? It built your base for bodybuilding.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because by the time you won that teenage Cal at the Wiltern, you could see you were head and shoulders better than everybody. You know, you could just.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Superstar, and that was a great night. Like I said, Sean Ray won the light heavy in the overall. You won the teen.
Yeah.
Rick Stevenson was second. We had a lot of good bodybuilders.
Yeah, and also Lonnie, I'm getting into the nutrition also. I'm piggybacking under Yaba Labs, which is the base of the factory and everything. We work out in the same factory, but the Real Deal Nutrition also that's another thing I'm trying to get moving in the right direction. So I'm working on that in a lot of places in the Middle East, going into Europe, and hopefully getting something going on here in the USA also. But that's what I'm doing, man.
Well, you deserve to be at the top, and you're right there. You know, and you deserve it. You had a great career. There were a lot of ups, some downs.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle.
Made it through. You
had some severe injuries where you didn't know where you were going to walk at one time.
Right. Exactly.
And you came back from that. You know, your back injury. So you've had quite a career, and it's great to see that you're doing well. And I'm so glad I got to talk to you. I don't get to really see you that much anymore.
I know. That's why you got to come to the Cal, brother.
I'm thinking
California's the California.
Yeah. Well, you know me. I like to eat. It's
I'll get you a ticket into the show. Don't worry.
Will you work with my posing?
Yeah, we'll help you with the posing. Finally, you hire me for posing.
Can I borrow your body?
No.
It's fun. It's fun. I'm just a fan watching you too. That's why I'm just letting you guys talk, because like Lonnie's become the host of the show today and just asking. I'm just letting it go, man. This is legend.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. This is great.
I got so recited I couldn't unlax.
No, man, it's good. This is perfect. This is two legends.
No, but you've been a great writer and a great MC over the years. I even got you backstage at the '97 Olympia in Chicago. I got you on video talking there. I have to show you these things.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Okay. I had a camera for some reason. It wasn't a like an iPhone like they have today, but I was bringing a camera around and I captured a lot of great footage that no one's ever seen. So
was that the 90s?
That's one thing I'm going to start bringing this to.
Yeah.
That was 96 in Chicago.
Yeah, 96. Yep.
Yeah. That was my last Olympia MC. I had all 4 shows that weekend.
You had to going over, and you was like, but you had a tuxedo on that night. You were looking good.
Oh, it didn't work. It still doesn't work. Anyway,
that'll be the thumbnail right there.
I gotta apologize to the host.
No, man. This is like this is what you used to do, Lonnie. You were the interviewer. You were interviewing everyone, asking the questions. So this is good, man.
Well, I think what happens is you're the only person that ever asked me to be on a podcast. So I think I got so excited that
this is your time. Yeah.
35 years of all that knowledge back then, and everybody else is on there. Where am I at?
Exactly. Yeah, man. We have to bring you on, man. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people appreciate you. I appreciate you over the years, and like I said, when you're walking up to me, it meant a lot to me that day. A 17-year-old kid, coming up to you. You were actually in Anaheim, I believe.
Anaheim. Okay, we're out.
Anaheim, where the I forgot the guy's name that was putting on those shows. Mike Glass.
Mike Glass.
Yeah, Mike Glass. And and you were like, man, you're somebody to watch out for, man. I remember buying that magazine. I was like, oh my God, this guy, he thinks that I'm going to be good. So I'm like, man. So that meant a lot to me as a teenager.
Well, thanks for making me look good on that prediction.
Oh yeah.
I remember standing backstage with you at the Cal, UC Irvine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
1990.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing you.
Yeah, 1990 Cal. Yep.
And I saw you at the 89 Cal where Flex Wheeler won.
Right. I was just there to scope out the scene and see where I'm going to be possibly going against next year. And then I actually met Flex that day, 89. For sure.
Yeah,
that was something. Yeah, he was super quiet. Like a little kid.
Quiet and modest.
Yeah. That's all right.
Good,
Anyway.
good.
So,
I wanted to ask one quick question too. If there's any update on Craig Titus, do you know anything that's going on with Craig Titus, Lonnie?
Actually, I saw a video of his latest parole hearing.
Okay.
And he said during the hearing that he had completed several different courses in prison.
good.
One of them, which I think, was getting his real estate license. And he mentioned that he's been seeing an old girlfriend, I think, Houston area, back in the late 90s. And when he gets out, he's planning on, I guess, moving to Houston and going into real estate and living with her. I mean, that's from what I could see. I think he's eligible for parole, I think, in December of 2026. So we got about a year and 9 months to go.
Okay.
But he spent a long time in there. He's in his 60s now.
Yeah.
We got to get him on the Real Deal podcast first.
Yeah,
we gotta get him.
I remember Titus and the Real Deal were wrestling in Toronto. Remember that in Toronto? You guys were wrestling in the lobby.
Yeah.
Ian Famali standing next to me going, these guys are nuts. These guys are totally nuts. But they had two wrestlers.
Yeah,
we was a good wrestler.
We were training partners back then. So, yeah, man, that was a trip.
What do you think he's going to be like when you first see him?
I don't know, man. We haven't really spoke over the years, you know. Even when I had people that was, family members, just people. I don't know, man. It's just something, man. It's just, oh man, it's just crazy. I can't even fathom what that might be like.
No one
he paid his debt. He paid his debt, and on the other side of all of that, now I'm sure he regrets. A lot of things, and I'm sure he would have been a multi-millionaire for sure if he was out here out here in society. He was that smart to do. I mean, he was good at different things, you know. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
It's a sad situation, but hopefully things have turned around. And when and if he does get out, hopefully he has somewhat of a happy life.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I know Kelly. I still have a lot of videos of all those guys. You know, Kelly, and it was a sad situation, but I just hope they can do something positive on the other side. So,
well, it sounded like at the parole hearing that Craig had completed a lot of different things. And a matter of fact, before that, actually, I read when O.J. Simpson was in Love Rock, it was in the same place. I think Craig put O.J. Simpson on a diet, and O.J. lost about 20 or 30 pounds before he was released from prison.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Craig was kind of the diet guru in there.
The diet guru, huh?
Yeah, well, he had a lot of knowledge. I'm sure a lot of those people went to him for that knowledge, you know. I mean, it's but anyway, somebody told me that he was well liked inside the prison there. I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to Kelly. It's
he's probably gonna be all over the channels, man. He's gonna be probably getting interviewed and talked to. Probably if he wants to. Maybe he doesn't want to do anything with the sport. Maybe he's just gonna be quiet and do his own thing. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
Who knows? But all right, well, we'll wrap it up there, man. Lonnie, appreciate you coming on. Shooting shit with Chris here, man, and I'm just watching like a fan, man. Just let you guys go at it, because why not? You guys, I mean, there's so many stories between the two of you. I just want to hear what you guys got to say.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
It's thanks for having me, and again, I apologize for taking over.
you get to take over, man. Lonnie. You get to take over. That's okay.
It's all good, brother. That's why I wanted you on.
Yeah, good.
All right, bro.
I'll see you guys, Chris. I may see you this weekend in Anaheim.
Okay. I'll see you there. Hopefully I'll see you there.
And the boss, I don't know when I'm going to, we never met in person, but We'll meet in person someday, huh? You're the boss man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll come there. For sure. I'm going to see you at one of these shows one of these days.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you
Okay,
soon.
thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Over,
Thanks for coming on.
under, we're out.